We're here.
Yep, let's do it, baby. I'm Jorge Gomez.
And I'm Angeli.
And this is Everybody
Does It. So what does everybody do?
Well, in our world, everybody's having sex.
However, we do also realize that there is a world of asexuals and people that are not having sex. So even though you guys are still more than welcome to our party, we're not exactly talking to you, but anybody can listen to us. And yeah, we are here to normalize sex and our sexuality, to bring awareness and open the conversation up around the topic of sex and everybody's different desires and different lifestyles. So we hope that by you listening to us and watching us, you'll also feel more empowered to show up as your true selves in your everyday lives and as your super sexy selves in your relationships. That's why we decided to start Everybody Does It.
So we got a lot of spicy topics for you guys on this channel. So we're actually going to be talking about our real life experiences, such as our previous monogamous relationships. We're going to talk about our experience with cheating. We're going to talk about sex with people outside of our relationship.
Dang.
We're going to talk about having threesomes.
Woo!
About having group sex.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
We're going to talk about swinging.
Oh, my favorite.
We're going to be talking about going to swingers clubs.
Hey.
We are going to talk about outdoor sex.
Also one of my favorites.
Yeah, we love doing that. And we're just going to be talking about our experience navigating this new world with different types of sexual relationships, with different types of sexual genders now coming about.
Yeah.
And you know, just different points of view to try to open your mind to what other people are doing in the world that's working for them, you know, and it might be outside of what you traditionally know.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do first is just talk about our backstories. And we're going to start with my love right here, Angeli.
Dang. Why are we starting with me? So I was born in a city called San Pedro Sula, in a country called Honduras, and I grew up very religious. I had Catholic parents, and I was a child of immigrants. I was an immigrant myself, and I was here when we were 4 years old. And my parents came to change the American dream, just like all the other, parents that were coming in at that time. And I remember that I had my caretaker. He was older. He was like 16, 17 at the time. And my parents worked a lot, and he was the landlord's lady's son, and he would watch me. And these are flashbacks like that came back to me like when I was a teenager. I kind of suppressed this for a really long time, and even now as an adult I don't have like full vivid memories, but I do remember like that him and I would lay up in bed and we got sexual. I remember like performing sexual acts on him and him performing sexual acts on me. And I don't think it ever went as far as sex, but I, obviously realize now as an adult that like that was sexual abuse. So I was sexually abused at a very young age. But at the same time, I wanted to, I kind of liked the attention that I was getting from him because I didn't have much attention at all because I was an only child at the time and my parents worked all the time. So it was nice to have somebody who was like there with me, like, with whatever we were doing, even though it was a sexual act, it was still, as a child, it was like an outlet for me. So
did you like have other friends that you would hang out with at the time?
No.
So that was like the only other young person that you would ever be with?
That was it. Like occasionally there would be like kids, like, family friends that I would hang out like when there would be parties, but like on an everyday basis. Like I wasn't in school yet, so he was like the only one who would, like, for those couple of months that he watched me, he was the only one that would really like hang out with me, because my parents would come and from work really late and then read me like a story maybe and then go to sleep, and then it was just like me and him like all day.
So they still don't know about this?
Oh no, my parents, they know about this. Like I came clean when I started having like dreams about it when I was like 16, 17. I started having the flashbacks were coming back to me because like for a long time I suppressed it, and it was around that age that I finally came clean, and I told my parents, and they were able to like confirm like who he was and how old he was. He was like 16, 17 at the time, and I was about four and a half. So yeah, then soon after that, I was about 10 years old, and I had a late uncle. He was the man that my aunt was married to. And I remember he would be laying up at nighttime and he would be watching porn on TV. And I remember like being really intrigued by the women that would come up, because he used to watch like a lot of women. He mostly used to watch like women with big titties masturbating. Like that was like his thing.
And you would see it also?
Hell yeah. He actually like started to like invite me to like watch it with him. And now mind you, I'm a little older. I'm like 9, 10 years old. So now I kind of have like an idea of like what is going on, because my friend and I at the time were like beginning to watch porn together, because we discovered the Spice Channel on my parents' TV while they again were at work, and my aunt was supposed to be taking care of us. And her and I started watching it together. And I remember thinking to myself like, oh my God, like I'm getting this tingling sensation. And I'll never forget the image that I saw too. Like the first time I ever saw it was 2 girls and 2 guys, and the guys were fucking the girls, and the girls were like making out with each other and like fondling each other. And I remember like at 10, standing there like thinking to myself like, oh my God, I think I like this. Like, and asking my friend, like, do you feel like tingly down there? And she'd be like, yes, like I feel tingly down there.
Right.
So yeah. And I probably would have gone on to lead a more sexually explorative life, but my parents stuck me in Catholic school when I turned 13. And I was in Catholic school from 13 to 17. And in Catholic school, we're taught that sex is only for marriage, between a man and a woman, to procreate. And outside of it, it's wrong. And if you have sex outside of that, it's a sin and you're going to go to hell. And this is what I'm being taught every day for years.
Right, so they're always talking about sex in Catholic school and how you're not supposed to be doing it, right?
Pretty much. Like it's like in high school, everyone has like religion class, and in religion class, we're taught like, hey, God created sex, but God created sex for like heterosexual people in like a missionary position. You know what I mean? Like there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And if you're doing it the wrong way, you're gonna burn in hell. So I'm getting this programmed at like from the ages of 13 to 17, like nonstop.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck.
And it's crazy to think about, because when you're in regular public school, they're not really bringing up sex on a regular basis. You might have that sex ed class like one time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, they're not really bringing up sex on a regular basis to the students.
Right.
And I feel like that's why you always hear that story of like that schoolgirl, that Catholic schoolgirl that has all of those suppressed sexual desires that have been held in and are trying to come out, you know, because of how much they drill into their heads every single day. Don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex.
Yeah.
Just talking about it. You know what I mean?
But a lot of people in my school were having sex. Like when I got there my freshman year of high school, there was a girl who was pregnant and full on belly. Like we saw her throughout the 9 months pregnancies. Like she was in school every day and she was talked about a lot. And she was in my gym class and she didn't have to do gym because she was pregnant. So they would just have her sit out. And then another time I was, again, also like a freshman or sophomore, and I was sitting behind 2 senior girls in chorus. And it was Lent at the time. And so if you're Catholic, you know that during Lent, you're supposed to give up something that you love, like something that like you really fuck with. So like for me, it would like be like ice cream or like pizza, like, because I love ice cream and I love pizza. So this girl was telling her friend that she was thinking about giving up sex for Lent. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what? Like, sex must be so good that this girl is gonna give it up for 40 days and 40 nights. And I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm even like, so they're having sex. Like, these kids are so this girl over here is pregnant. This girl over here is giving up sex for Len. So, like, okay, these girls are having sex, but we're being taught, don't have sex. If you're a girl, your virginity is sacred. Like, your virginity is everything. You hold on to that, and you only give that to your husband. So, yeah, it was... I don't fuck with the Catholic Church anymore for that and many reasons, but...
So did you end up waiting until marriage?
So I really, really wanted to. Like, I would go to retreats. I would, like, watch, like, purist videos of how to, like, hold it to marriage. Like, I really, really... I would read books. I really wanted to. But no, I actually ended up losing my virginity when I was 19 to the guy that I did think I was gonna marry him. I really did. I really did love him. But no, we did it in the back seat of my Chevy Lumina at the time under the bridge. And I know, there I go again with like the outdoor public sex. But listen, so the first time that we have sex and I lose my virginity, he takes me to church right afterwards because he was studying to be a pastor, but he was Pentecostal. And he was like, we have sinned, so now we must go to church. And I was like, wait, I don't want to go to church right now. Like, literally, I'm telling you, like, literally within, like, minutes of us putting our clothes back on, he's like, we need to go to church now.
That's so weird.
It was weird. And so I remember, literally, you know that term, like, sweating like a whore at church? That was me. I was sweating like a fucking whore at church because I had just lost my virginity. Something that I was told that I'm supposed to hold on to. Something that I was told for a long time that, like, fuck, like, he wasn't my husband. I didn't even know if we were gonna get married. So here I am in his church, and all these people are, like, worshiping God, and I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out because of the shame and the guilt that I felt. Like, deep embedded shame and guilt, like, for years. You know, because the Catholic Church, they want you to feel guilty for having your pleasures and your desires and your fantasies. So, and then after church, he wanted to have sex again.
So then you would have had to go back to church again right after again?
No. But, like, he did take me to church again, like, on Sunday, and, like, kept asking me, like...
Oh, so you did end up having sex again right after church?
I don't think so, because I had to go home. But, like, it was time for me to go, because, you know, Edwin Sr. was not about to have it. Shout out to my dad. But, yeah, so... But, no, we started having sex a lot. Like, we were having sex all the time. I mean, I was buying our condoms. I was buying lingerie. Like, we were having sex all the time. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, whatever. He's my boyfriend. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I remember having conversations with God and being like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, all the time. Like, in my room, like, when I'd come home, be like, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, God. But, like, I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to stop. So, 6 months later... he's home from school for the summer from college, and he breaks up with me. It's Memorial Day weekend. I will never forget this because this is one of the worst heartbreaks of my life. And he told me that he was breaking up with me because God, the God, had told him that I wasn't a holy woman and that I wasn't the one that he should marry.
God told him that?
God told him that. That's what he said to me.
So how did that, like, make you feel?
Oh my God. I didn't fuck with God for a really long time after that. Like, I really, like, shut him out after that. I was really hurt. I was embarrassed. I was angry. I was like, damn.
And how old were you at this time?
19. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So I was devastated. Like I said, I lost a lot of weight. Like, I went into a really deep depression. My dad, like, took us on a family vacation to California for, like, a month because he was tired of seeing me crying every day in my room. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. Because not only did I feel so shameful of, like, I lost my virginity to this guy, and you know, now he doesn't love me anymore like I thought he did. But on top of that, clearly God doesn't love me either like I thought he did.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. So I didn't fuck with God for a really long time, and which is so funny because when you shut God out, other people will come in that are not of his path. So about 6 months after that, I meet my ex-husband, my daughter's dad, and he's an atheist. So like he don't fuck with God at all.
Right, exact opposite.
Exact opposite. Yeah. So, and I'm like, okay, that's cool because shit, God don't really like me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really like God, so you say you don't like God, so, alright, cool. And he was like, yeah, like, we're having sex. Like, we're having lots of sex. So, him and I, we dated, and it was a roller coaster of a relationship, but we ended up getting married, because our families really pressured us. We wanted to live together, and his parents were Christian, conservative, and we wanted to live together, and they were like, no, you should not live together before marriage. And my parents also like agreed. They were like, no, you shouldn't live together before marriage. So we lived together for maybe like a year, and then we got married, and I was 24 years old. But I remember like the day of my wedding having this like really deep realization with myself that I couldn't say it out loud, that like this wasn't gonna last forever. So yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I'm pregnant. And that same year, I have my most beautiful fucking gift ever, Miss Selena. And yeah. And then I was your typical, like, wifey, stay-at-home mom. Like, I did it all, you know, like, for 3 years. And then I felt like I was slowly, like, dying a slow death. I was like, what the fuck have I done? Like, I don't think I want to be a wife anymore.
Okay.
Like, I remember laying up in bed and just thinking to myself, like, there has to be more. Like, this can't be it. Like, this literally, like, is this going to be my life? Like, am I really going to be with this man? This is the only dick I'm ever going to have for the rest of my life? You know what I mean? Like, and I kept thinking to myself, like, 45-year-old me is going to be pissed if I stay in this, like, marriage. And it wasn't helping that, again, at the time we weren't doing good. Like, financially we weren't doing good. We were very opposite people. And I meet someone who really piqued my interest. And I was a makeup artist at the time, and I met a cousin of one of my clients while I was doing her makeup, and instantly, this doesn't happen a lot for me. Something that is like very, okay, not like, I won't say rare, but like it's hard for me to like meet someone and be like, you know what I mean? Because normally I'm like, no. So when I met him, I was like, oh shit, like I like him. Like I think I'm gonna want to fuck him. Like I think I'm gonna want to cheat. And I didn't want to be a cheater. I always like, I thought cheating was like one of the lowest things that you could do to somebody that you love. I just didn't want to be like that person. So what did I do? I went the even harsher route. I sat him down one night and I was like, look, I don't love you anymore. I don't love you anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. And I think I might want to be with somebody else, or want to have sex with somebody else, or I think I might like somebody else. And of course that was a huge slap in the face for him.
Didn't take it well.
No, he never saw it coming, because you have to understand, like, I was highly devoted to this man. Like, in those 7 years that we were together, I really fucked with him, you know, and only him. In those 7 years, I did not have sex with like anybody else ever. Like I was my man, you know. I really strongly believe that, like if you're with somebody, you're with that person. But now here I am, like, but I always found myself attracted to other people, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna go have sex with anybody else, but like I definitely always had little crushes on people, like coworkers and stuff like that. I just never like acted up on it. So I told him, I was like, this is what I want to do. And he was like, okay. He wasn't happy. So, and what's kind of fucked up is that like maybe 2 days, a few days after like me sitting him down and being like, I don't love you anymore and all that, I went and like slept with this other person. So, and I definitely felt guilty. Like at first, I felt weird and awkward, and I felt like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? Because this is the first person that I'm having sex with after 7 years.
And I'm sure it's like really confusing.
It's so confusing. It's like, fuck. Like, I got my daughter's dad at home, and I'm over here with this guy that I don't even really know. You know? But as like confusing and slightly guilty that I felt like I was on drugs.
Right.
Like, I was like, whoa, like 0 to 100. I felt like a whole, like, an Angeli was coming out. Like I was like remembering myself again, because you got to remember, for these past 3 years, I'm a wife and a mom and yes, I'm a makeup artist too, but my title was wife and mom. Those were that's all I was like focused on. I wasn't really focused on like me like that, you know?
Yeah, so on one side, you felt guilt because of your commitment to your relationship, and you feel like you were breaking your loyalty.
Yes.
And then on the other side, you felt like you were fueling yourself in a way that you haven't in a long time, and you were just making yourself feel better.
Yeah.
You know, to try to take yourself away from the pain that you were feeling in your relationship, just distracting yourself.
That's a good way to put it, babe. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because, you know, it's a new connection. It's exciting, you know, and it's definitely a big distraction when you meet somebody new.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to keep hanging out with him. And then, but shortly after him and I had sex, he kind of lost an interest in me, which was really fucking sucky. But then I was like, fuck, I could meet somebody else. As easy as I met him, like, I could go and meet somebody else. So now that I've told, like, my husband, he's still not my ex-husband, because I still stayed with him. Like, we still lived together for, like, there was, like, these 4 months, like, that our lease wasn't up between the time that, like, I was like, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. This isn't good. To, like, the time that I actually like left, like we actually separated. It was like 4 months where I like lived in my office downstairs, and he like lived upstairs, like he slept upstairs. So like I was like dating people and like having
still living
sex
in the same house,
and still living in the same house and still fucking him too.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was like, shit, it was still easy, you know what I mean? And he did, like, for that whole year, he really did try to, like, get me back. But once I told him, he asked me one night, he was like, have you been having sex with other people? And at that time, I was like, I can't lie anymore. Like, because I've been a liar for such a long time. Like, I've been somebody I've held a lot of secrets about who I am for a long time. And I was just like, I'm 27 years old. Like, I don't want to lie anymore. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, you just got to stop with the lies. So I was like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm having sex with other people. And so after I said that to him, he was like, it was like lights out for him. He couldn't look at me the same anymore. It was like that perfect image that he had of his devoted, loving, you know, wife and mother of his child. It was like tainted. Like after that, he was just kind of like, you know what, I don't even know if I want you anymore.
Yeah, the love and the trust, it's all gone at that point.
Yeah, so we both hurt each other. So a year after that, we were separated for a year, and at 27, I was signing divorce papers. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I am fucking 27 years old and getting divorced. Like, this is sad. Like, I just remember, like, and because at the time, my friends around me were getting engaged and getting married, and here I was, like, divorced with a child, and now I'm going to be a single mom. So I journeyed into the dating world, And I quickly realized that that shit had changed a lot. You know, especially with the introduction of all the dating apps such as Tinder, Plenty of Fish, no, like,
And at the same time, you're a completely different person too.
yeah, I'm a completely different person. And I'm like, but at the same time, I don't even know who I am because my identity was tied to like wife, mom. Like I had been his girl for 7 years. That my identity was tied to like him and my life with him and my daughter. So now I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be a single mom. Who the fuck even am I?
Right.
Like, what do I even want? What do I even like? You know what I mean? So I just started dating. Like I just kept the rotation of people all the time. Like every week, I was going on dates. Like I would go on a morning breakfast date and an afternoon walk and then a dinner with somebody else. And it was fun. It was so much fun for those first couple of years. And then like reality hit. And when, especially after like he moved on, when I saw him with somebody else, that's when I was like, whoa, like, wait a minute. Like, he moved on and I'm still like single and figuring my life out and figuring out who I am. And so that's when that little voice was kind of getting bigger of like, hey, you do kind of miss having a relationship. Like, you do kind of want a relationship, because a part of me always did believe that I could have that happy ever after. And I hate to fucking say this, but it's like, it's the truth. It's what a lot of us women are taught, that like, you know, you're gonna have your Prince Charming that's gonna come and, you know, make it all go away and just save you. And it was like, I think there was that little, like, my inner child was still believing that maybe that could be possible for me. Like, okay, I'm divorced, but maybe I could find somebody who would really like love me for who I am. So,
But you felt like if they loved you, they could only love you, and that would be the only way that it could work.
yeah, that's another thing. It was like, as much as I enjoyed like having my rotation of people, I knew that when it came down to having a relationship, I was programmed to think that monogamy was the only way. Like, it's supposed to be you and this other person. And yeah, while you're single, go ahead, fuck around, do whatever it is that you want. But once you enter that committed relationship, my only idea of what a committed relationship is supposed to look like is monogamy, is monogamous. Because again, that's my parents, the people around me, like in the fucking movies that we watch, television shows, like that's what everyone is teaching us. Like, love and relationships equals monogamy. There was no idea of like, oh, I could have ethical non-monogamy. I didn't even hear that word until like 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
It's all new.
Polyamory, what the fuck is that? You know, I thought polyamory was like the dudes in like Iowa and Utah with the sister wives. And I remember thinking like, that's fucked up. I'm sorry. I remember like, you ever watch Sister Wives?
Yeah.
That was like my first like little like, that was like the first show that introduced like a different type of like loving. But I was like, I don't know about this. Like, this dude is weird. Like, you're telling me he has these 3 women living in his home and they're all raising his kids and they're loving on each other? Nah, I don't know about that. But
So before moving on, how do you feel about it now?
I mean, to each their own. I'm not one to judge. It's not for me. It is not for me. But hey, girl, like, if you want to be a sister wife and that's what brings you joy, then more power to you. So, yeah. But so then I had my boyfriends. I got some boyfriends, and no. It was a mess. Like, people are all fucked up. A lot of people need healing. And you attract who you are. So I was just as fucked up as they were. And I remember, like, the same guy kept, like, coming into my life, but with a different name and a different face. Like, just with the same, like, emotional unavailable guy, or like in the beginning he would be like really into me and it would be like hot and heavy and like be all about me, but then like after like 3 months it would be like, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go back to my ex-girlfriend. Like, what? Like, what do you mean, like, you're gonna go back to your ex-girlfriend? And then I was repeating like toxic patterns too. Like, I was repeating like, oh, my jealousy, oh my god, was I a fucking jealous bitch? And I still, side note, I still have my little jealous monster. Remember I was telling you? Is currently sleeps for the most part.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
But yeah, I dealt with a lot of like jealousy issues, and a lot of people that like the men that I was attracting into my life were like definitely triggering it. So through a lot of like the failed relationships and my crazy dating escapade stories, I decided it was time to go on a journey of self-love and really deep self-discovery, and realizing like, no, like I don't have to rush into a relationship. Like I really should stay single. And I stayed single for about 3 years until this fine gentleman came along, and oh my gosh, the world just wasn't the same after Jorge entered it. And I'm grateful. Like, I'm so grateful for my journey, and I'm grateful that I was able to experience like life on the other side as like a monogamous, like, wife and a mom, and then being single and dating, and then meeting someone who just completely like catapulted me into, oh my gosh, like a whole different version of who I could have ever imagined to be. Because if you would have told me that I would be in a really open relationship 5 years ago, I would have been like, no, the fuck not. Like, no way. So I'm definitely grateful for my journey and everything that happened that led me here. And now we have this amazing channel and podcast. And yeah, this whole journey led me to this fine gentleman right here. And he's going to say his side of the story on the next episode.
Yeah, so, we have a lot to talk about. I got my side of the story, which is pretty crazy, if you ask me. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode, so I hope y'all stay tuned. And definitely stay tuned for the next episode after that, because we're going to talk about how I cheated on Angeli and how she actually forgave me somehow. I'm a lucky man.
Very lucky.
You're going to see all that. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to tell y'all everything. We ain't going to keep nothing back. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Everybody does it.
Make sure to like and subscribe. So see you on the next one.